Dallas Cowboys walked out of Carolina with more questions than answers. The scoreboard read 30-27, but the story runs much deeper than a narrow loss. This wasn't about one bad drive, one missed tackle, or one unlucky break. This was about a team that looked unprepared, unfocused, and perhaps most importantly, unwilling to fight in the trenches. For weeks, fans have been waiting to see the Cowboys' defense bounce back, to show the grit and identity that once defined this franchise. Instead, we watched Carolina dominate the line of scrimmage from the first whistle to the final kick. The Panthers, a team that had been written off by nearly everyone, put up over 400 yards of offense and more than 200 rushing yards. Rico Dowdle, yes, the same Rico Dowdle who once wore the star, turned this game into a personal statement. Dowdle didn't just beat Dallas, he embarrassed them. 30 carries for 183 yards, another 56 through the air, over 200 total yards and a touchdown against the team that let him walk. The man literally warned them midweek saying they better buckle up. And what happened? Dallas didn't buckle up, they broke down. The Cowboys' defense was supposed to be the backbone of this team, the part of the roster that could mask offensive inconsistencies. But on Sunday, it collapsed. Matt Eberflus's defense looked predictable, soft, and disjointed. The same issues that haunted this group against Chicago appeared again. Poor tackling, lack of gap integrity, no edge containment, and zero confidence. The analysts on Cowboys game night didn't hold back. They broke down the tape frame by frame, showing how Carolina head coach Dave Canales called the perfect game. He attacked the Cowboys' cover 3 scheme mercilessly. He overloaded zones, forcing defenders like Deron Bland and Maurice Leafau into impossible positions. Carolina used misdirection, crossing routes, and clever motion to confuse Dallas's linebackers and safeties. And when the Cowboys defenders finally bit on the wrong assignment, Canales sent Dowdle right through the gap. That's not just a schematic loss, that's a preparation loss. The Panthers didn't out-talent the Cowboys, they outsmarted them. At one point, the film analysis froze on a play showing defensive end Marshawn Kneen being completely sealed off at the edge, his first game back from injury. Once that happened, it was over. Dowdle bounced outside for another 12 yards, untouched. The Cowboys lost contain on multiple plays, and the defensive front got bullied off the ball. As the host said, "We gave up the edge too often in this game." That's the kind of sentence that burns in a locker room, because giving up the edge isn't just a tactical mistake, it's a mentality issue. It's about effort, it's about pride, and it's about accountability. Then came the part that had every Cowboys fan shaking their head in frustration, the post-game press conference with offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer. When asked what went wrong, he didn't sugarcoat it. He said, "They controlled the game on both sides of the ball. We didn't win the line of scrimmage today." That line may go down as one of the most brutally honest admissions of the season, because that's exactly what the film shows. Carolina was more physical. They set the tone. They imposed their will. Dallas didn't respond. Schottenheimer went on to add, "We knew they were a physical team. We weren't surprised by that. But they were able to run it, and we weren't. You've got to win the line of scrimmage, and we didn't." It's rare to hear that level of bluntness from a coach in Dallas, but he's right. The Cowboys didn't just lose a game. They lost an identity. Jerry Jones has built this roster around speed, skill, and playmakers. But what we're seeing now is a team that lacks balance. When the passing game is clicking, the run game disappears. When Dak is sharp, the defense crumbles. When one side fights, the other folds. That inconsistency has cost this team multiple games already this season. Dak Prescott actually played well in this one. He finished efficient, smart with the football, delivering 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. George Pickens was electric again, reminding fans that he's quickly becoming Dak's most trusted weapon. Jake Ferguson continued a strong stretch with another touchdown. The offense put up 27 points, more than enough to win in the NFL. but the defense gave it all back. Once again, Dallas couldn't get off the field on 3rd and 4th downs. They allowed Carolina to convert 14 first downs on the ground. 14! And when the game was on the line, on a 4th and 4 near midfield, the Cowboys played soft coverage and gave up an easy slant to Hunter Renfrow, another player who was cut earlier this year and brought back out of desperation. That single play sealed the game. It's those moments, the situational collapses, that define good teams from great ones. The Cowboys still don't know how to close. What's worse, this isn't an isolated issue. It's now 2 straight weeks that Dallas has given up over 6 yards per carry to opposing lead backs. First it was Breece Hall with the Jets, now it's Dowdle. The trend is ugly, and it's becoming clear that the Cowboys don't have the personnel or the scheme to fix it internally. That's why rumors are swirling again. The idea of Jerry Jones exploring a trade before the deadline is picking up steam. Insiders around the league continue to link Dallas to Raiders superstar Maxx Crosby, who's reportedly frustrated in Las Vegas. Others mention Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati as a possible fit. Could Jerry pull the trigger? He's done it before, and after watching this game, it's not hard to imagine him reaching his breaking point. Because for all the talk about discipline and accountability, this team has none. The post-game interview said it all. Schottenheimer owned up to the loss, but his tone was weary, almost resigned. The players, meanwhile, looked defeated. There wasn't anger, there wasn't fight, just frustration. That's not the mindset of a contender. Eberflus's defense has gone from respected to predictable in just 6 weeks. His system relies on precision, but when the fundamentals fail, everything crumbles. Missed tackles, soft zones, poor pursuit angles, it's the same movie every Sunday. And make no mistake, Jerry Jones is watching closely. He's 83 years old, and patience isn't his strong suit. He didn't bring in veterans like Stephon Gilmore, Kenny Clark, and Brandon Cooks to lose to teams like Carolina. If this trend continues, don't be surprised if Jerry steps in. Whether that means a staff shakeup, a trade for a pass rusher, or even changes to the defensive leadership, something will happen. Still, there are positives. Dak Prescott continues to lead. His composure, his control of the offense, his command of the locker room, it's all there. The players believe in him, and despite the loss, there's still plenty of season left to turn this around. The NFC is wide open. The question is whether the Cowboys will use this loss as a wake-up call or another excuse. When Schottenheimer said, "We didn't win the line of scrimmage today," he wasn't just talking about blocking and tackling. He was talking about mindset, about toughness, about the hunger to win when everything's on the line. That's the missing piece in Dallas right now. Cowboys Nation has seen this story before. Fast starts, mid-season collapse, and an uncertain ending. But it doesn't have to be that way. If the players decide they've had enough, if the coaches adjust, and if Jerry finally invests where it matters, on the defensive front, this team can still make a run. Until then, though, the truth is simple. The Cowboys were outplayed, outcoached, and outmuscled. And until that changes, they'll keep falling short of the standard they claim to represent. This isn't about panic. It's about pride. Cowboys Nation, let me hear your thoughts. Do you believe this team can fix the defense and make a run? Should Jerry Jones make a trade for Maxx Crosby or Trey Hendrickson? And do you trust Eberflus to turn this unit around before it's too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more honest, passionate coverage right here on Cowboys Nation Report. Because if one thing's certain, this story isn't over.